Lighting for Profits, the #1 landscape lighting show in the world. Oh, yeah.
Welcome to Lighting for Profits.
All right.
Powered by Emery Allen. Here is your host, Ryan Lee.
All right. Welcome to the number one outdoor lighting show in the U.S. of A. Guys, we are celebrating the 250th year of America. So you know what? I thought, why don't we just plan it? Let's do the 250th episode of Lighting for Profits. See, we thought about this 5 years ago. I don't know how, but it did. The stars did align. Today is the 250th episode of Lighting for Profits. So it's going to be a party. It's going to be a special episode. And somehow it just so happens to line up with the fact that it's the month of the celebration of the 250th year of the independence of the United States of America. So we definitely got the #1 outdoor lighting show in America. I don't know about the rest of the world, but for sure today in America. So seriously, guys, it's pretty awesome that we get to celebrate 250 years of America, which is like such a short period of time. Just go to, well, I've only been to Europe, right? I've been to Greece. That's old, but I've never been to like Egypt. And you go to some of these places and you're like, dang, America is not old. 250 years is nothing. But it's really cool to celebrate, come together as a country, come together as just united. You know, it's the United States of America. So that's pretty cool because there's so much division in the world. And that's really what I'm trying to do here on Lighting for Profit. So it's cool that we get to celebrate our 250th episode. Kind of surreal, kind of crazy. I didn't have a goal to get to 100 or 200 or 250 or anything, but that's what I'm trying to unite. I'm trying to bring the lighting industry together. And it's not easy. So, but I seriously cannot thank you guys so much for your support. Emery Allen has been a huge part of our story for a good portion of these 250 episodes. So if you're looking to start, grow, scale, whatever you want to call it, an outdoor lighting business, this is the place. Today's going to be an awesome show. One of the things when I ask people on strategy sessions, when people reach out to us, we ask them like, what's your biggest obstacle? And it's literally like 90% of the time the same answer. People go, well, I need more leads. I need more business. And so we're going to talk about how to get more leads in your business. We're going to talk about all things marketing. And so it's going to be a great show. We've got the founders of Outside Leads, Mr. Ben. I'm not even going to try to say your last name, bro. Ben, let him introduce himself. And Nick Tan. Thank you, Nick, for having a nice, easy last name. 3 letters like my last name. Ben, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we should change it. We'll just call him Ben Maz. I'm not sure. But Ben and Nick, the founders of Outside Leads. So you've probably, if you haven't already, I'm sure you have, maybe you didn't know, but you've probably seen their Facebook ads. So they clearly know how to get their message in front of people. And we're going to talk all things marketing with them. So super excited to have them on. A couple quick announcements. September 9th and 10th, Park City, Utah. It's 2 months away, less than 2 months now, is Secret Summit. This is our members only event. So if you're like on the fence, like, I don't know, like, is Landscape Lighting Secrets a scam? Even though we've been around since 2020, like if you're just like not sure, you should probably join now because you're going to want to be in that room. It's once a year. It's only once a year. It's our members only meetup. We do all sorts of things we can't even tell you about, because it's a secret society. So, but we are inviting a handful of vendors to participate as well. So that's going to be kind of cool. If you need information on that, just email support@ryanleecoaching.com and Darcy can hook you up. Also made an announcement a couple weeks ago, but Light It Up Expo is happening 2027. So still got some time, but we're gonna be doing some promotions and stuff like that here. But if you want to get on the early bird, go to lightitupexpo.com. It's gonna be in Las Vegas. It's going to be easy to sell tickets, which that's not why we did it there. But I'm just hoping that we can actually add some value because if people don't show up because they're still out from the night before, it's going to be hard to help. But Light It Up Expo is going to be awesome. Las Vegas at the Flamingo. Going to be really, really cool. So that's pretty much it. Again, guys, on today's show, the 250th episode, aligning with the 250th year celebration of the US of A. We got Ben and Nick, the founders of Outside Leads. Before we have them on, I've got something on my mind. And this, to be honest, this hurts. What I want to share today was I had this episode actually mapped out in my mind for about the last 3 months. And then when I went to like put my notes together, I was pretty disappointed because, you see the Instagram, you see the social media, you see all the highlights. Well, we're going to talk about some of the highlights, but we're also going to talk about some of the lowlights. And I'm just a pessimistic person. I'm sorry, did I say pessimistic? I'm an optimistic person because I like to be optimistic. I choose my attitude, and things could be really bad in my life. And I'm like, I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to have a positive attitude. And that can come across as fake sometimes, or it could come across online as like, oh yeah, everything's great. Well, not always. Just I'm choosing to celebrate happiness. And so this last, just a couple days ago, I ran for the second time. I did it last year, my first time. This year was my second time. I did the Spartan Beast. If you don't know anything about the Spartan Beast, they have them all around the world, but this one here in Utah is literally one of the, I think they said one of the top 5 hardest in the world. 21K, which is supposed to be 13 miles. And I had my watch on. Yeah, we ran 14 miles, 4,500 feet elevation, which is the real kicker, and 30 obstacles. Some of the obstacles are fairly easy, I would say, and some of them are really freaking hard. Last year, it took me over 5 hours of continuous effort. I was like, I was drained. And so I go, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna come back even stronger next year. Next year, I'm gonna beat that 5-hour mark. In fact, I might even be able to do 4 hours because I didn't know what was ahead of me. I didn't know what 4,500 feet elevation was, and 14 miles and 30 obstacles. I had never done it, right? So I thought, well, this year's going to be not a cakewalk, but I'm gonna beat the time. And so I trained, and then I stopped training because I got busy. I was going out of town for work. I was going out of town with the family. I made some other excuses probably. I just didn't train as hard as I told myself I was going to. I'm like, I got all year. Well, because I had all year, I didn't start day one, right? I even started doing squats. Okay, I've never done a leg day in my life. If you've met me, you can tell. But I did leg days, right? And I started doing squats, and I'm starting to develop a little muscle down there. It's crazy. But here's the truth. I failed. Oh my gosh, I failed my goal like by a lot. This year, not only did I not get under 5 hours, it took me over 6 hours to finish. 6 hours and 10 minutes. Man, it was brutal. It was the hottest day of the year so far. I think they broke the record yesterday or something like that again, but it was over 100 degrees, 104 degrees. I rolled my ankle and fell and somehow hurt my other heel. Like my other foot was bruised. I'm like, what? Like my right foot is rolled ankle and my left is a hurt foot. That was on like mile 8. And I thought I had 5 more miles to go. I still had 6. I mean, there was at mile 8, I changed my mind because I was like, I can't run anymore. I can't do these things. I'm weak, right? And my goal switched from like, okay, I'm not getting a PR to I just got to finish this thing. I literally was like working my way mile by mile going, I don't know if I can finish. Like I seriously just kept doubting myself. And I was like thinking, okay, how am I going to quit? Where am I going to quit? I mean, I was just pissed. But I just stuck it out, and 6 hours, 10 minutes later, I'm looking at my clock and my watch, it's getting close to 5 hours and I'm not even close. I'm like, oh gosh, what a loser. Right. The thing that I am proud of is that I even finished because I literally was as getting close to mentally checking out. And it reminded me of the danger of setting goals. Goals are interesting. You read a lot of influencers, a lot of educators. They'll tell you, oh, you got to have a goal. You got to have a goal. And goals are great. Like but you either hit it or you don't. And so, but then what? Like even if you hit your goal or you don't hit your goal, like the fact that I didn't get my goal of getting under 5 hours and I really wanted 4 hours, I got was 2 hours longer than my goal. Like, that's crazy. But my life right now is no different than if I would have hit my goal or not. Like, I might have been happier for like a day or 2 or something like that, but like my life's the same, right? And that's it. And so I literally had to, it took me like 2 days to come to grips with this. Um, that the goal, whether you hit the goal or not, is not the win. The win is that you became a different person. Like my life is, I become a long way. I mean, I'm stronger, I'm more disciplined, I'm healthier, I eat better, I'm happier, I wake up earlier, I show up better for my family, I show up better for my clients. Um, that's why you set hard goals. Okay. And whether you hit it or not, to me, is just irrelevant. It's like, okay, like I didn't do it. So what? Now what? I like my kids don't love me anymore. Like they, they could care less. They're like, oh, why'd you do that? um, it challenges you. These hard goals, they challenge you. They help you become a different version of yourself. And so I've always enjoyed pushing myself to see what's possible. And in the case of the Spartan, I learned that it's not possible. It obviously was not possible for me to hit that. And the truth is, like, I didn't deserve to finish under 5 hours. Like, I made a lot of excuses. I didn't start training when I should have. I waited till the last minute. The last couple of months I was starting to put it on, but I was running, and this isn't a running race. The 14 miles, a lot of it is literally climbing up like steep terrain where you're literally like almost falling backwards, and then you have to go down it. So you're not like gaining speed going down because you're like holding onto plants and rocks and stuff to make sure you just don't go down this steep terrain. It's like, for sure, if it's even a run, it's a double black diamond, right? And so um I didn't deserve it. I'm not ready, right? And I do believe that if I would have worked harder and trained harder, like I wouldn't have gotten hurt. I would have pushed through. I would have been able to do that in the short amount of time, because there was other people. I think the fastest person, I'm not sure how old they were, but I think the fastest person did it in like 3.5 hours. And I did it in 6 hours and 10. So that's a lot of time difference. I'm sure they had more muscle than me. I'm sure they trained for. I'm sure they probably did one the day before. Like this is just what they do. I haven't put in the reps, right? And that's kind of how business is. We all want the payoff, and I'm guilty of this too. So this isn't a place of judgment, by the way. We all want the payoff, but we aren't willing to do whatever it takes. And it's true. I would love like major payoffs and not have to go do the things, but that's just not how the world works. So I want to ask you, what things in your business are you skipping? What are the leg days in your business that you're skipping? And it's usually the hard stuff. It's usually the hard stuff. Working on yourself as a leader, taking accountability and ownership for your weaknesses, your lack of ability to lead. That's not easy. Um, what else it could be hiring your replacement. It could be investing in training your team. Most of us say we don't have time for that because we got to go do installs. What about investing in yourself? Do you have a coach? Do you have a life coach? Do you have a mentor? Are you part of a community? Working smarter, not harder. Okay. Everyone goes through the same thing. You just think, I'll figure it out one day. Well, how hard are you willing to work to figure out that it's not about a matter of how hard you work, it's how smart you work. You have to be willing to put in the reps if you want the payoff. It just does not happen overnight. And I learned that obviously with the Spartan. Um, and if you are stuck, like I'm talking like some of you guys have been doing the same thing. I mean, I admire your discipline. You're like, nope, head down. Like, I'm just gonna grind. It's been like 5 years, 10 years. You're still in the same spot. Like something's got to change. Okay. If you don't have something, or if you want something that you don't have, you're going to have to be willing to do something you've never done. That's just a simple truth, right? And so for those of you looking for certainty, well, newsflash, like it doesn't exist until certainty only comes after you take action. So like I'm certain that I didn't finish the Spartan in under my goal. Like I don't could I finish faster? I don't know until I do that, right? Um, and opportunities are all around us, and most of us just make excuses. So, the opportunities that are sitting right in front of you are costing you more to not take advantage of than they would to just try it. Because like worst case scenario, like me, like I did the Spartan, I didn't hit my goal. I declared it to you guys. I declared it to the world. So now I gotta, put my head down and be like, yeah, I freaking sucked. And all I can do is laugh it off so that I feel less embarrassed, right? But that's the worst case scenario. I'm still a better human being because I did it, right? And that's a lot like business, guys. You're just gonna have to figure it out as you go. Um, Fear is around us, doubt is around us. You're not going to develop less fear. You're not going to develop less doubt. It's always going to be there. Even the mega successful people, they have probably bigger fears because their risks are even bigger than yours, but they're not waiting. They're taking action. Okay. So, the most successful people, they know that if they do fail, like I did on my Spartan, to hit my goal, I still finished, but I failed on my goal big time. They're still going to come out ahead way better than they were before. And so I promise you guys, it's the same for you in your business. Whatever that thing is that's holding you back, step into the fear and you will find courage. That's what it is. You just got to develop that courage muscle and exercise it over and over and over. And it's reps, right? So I've got areas in my life where I've exercised those reps and I'm freaking disciplined and I'm just a beast. And then I've got the Spartan beast where I'm not so much of a beast. So it's okay, guys. Get 1% better every day. And it's about who you become along the journey, not the destination, not the goal. So make sure you're using your goals accordingly. I'm going to do new health goals because I like that. I like hitting it. But again, I'm just kind of reminding myself that it's not about whether I hit it or not. It's more about like what transformation occurred throughout that process. So all right, guys. By the way, hey, shout out to Chris Rios. When we started the show, he did that cool recording for us.
Profits, the #1 landscape lighting show in the world. Oh yeah!
I was actually at it was a training. It was like a holiday lighting training and a landscape lighting training years ago, and he had a couple beers in him and recorded that for me, so that was cool. But of course, want to give a shout out to Emery Allen. So one of the reasons I'm so passionate about helping people make a ton of money is so that they can afford to over deliver and really provide that red carpet, white glove experience to their clients. So when you're trying to deliver that red carpet, white glove experience, you're going to get more repeat business. You're going to get more referrals. You're going to increase your lifetime value, which we're going to talk about on today's call, talking about marketing. But you do that by delivering a high quality product. If you're using cheap products just to deliver a low price, like it's going to be hard to constantly over deliver. Luckily, Emery Allen makes premium LED lamps for lighting professionals who demand the best. So don't settle for less. Just upgrade your designs and installations today with Emery Allen. If you have not taken advantage of the homie hookup, just email Jackson. His email is Jackson, L as in the letter L, jacksonl@emeryallen.com. And he will hook you up with that discounted contractor pricing. All you need to do is mention that you heard about him here on Lighting for Profits. Just email jacksonl@emeryallen.com. All right, guys, I promised you we're going to talk about how to grow your business, how to get more leads. Let's get our guests on the show. What do you guys say? Let's see if I can find my guest intro music. Oh, there it is. All right, please help me welcome Mr. Ben and Nick with Outside Leads. What's up, Ben? What's up, Nick?
How's it going?
By the way, Ben, why don't you introduce yourself real quick?
Yep, that'll be Ben Mazurkiewicz. Very common, of course.
Yeah.
I went through that
Just like
my
it
entire life.
says.
Ben Maz is perfect. That's my Instagram handle too. It's always been.
like that.
So
Yeah, Ben Maz is way cooler than what you just said.
Mazurkiewicz. Yeah, it's a tongue twister, but they grab
Awesome.
attention.
Hey, thanks for being here, Ben. And Nick Tan.
Yes, sir.
We got that right?
Yeah, nailed it.
Why don't you guys just do a quick introduction of who you are? How did you get started in this business? Like, give us a quick backstory real quick.
Yeah, sure thing. So I can kind of start on our journey. Nick and I together kind of met through the marketing world, where we started Outside Leads as a home service agency. So we worked with a lot of landscapers, hardscapers, general contractors, roofers, things of the nature. And kind of the starting point and how we got into the outdoor lighting world, my older brother started working with and still works with Outdoor Lighting Perspectives of Chicago. That's where I'm based. And at the time, we didn't know much about the industry. This is rewinding back 3 to 4 years, but it became very appealing from the advertising perspective in that it's a luxury service. People buy it because they want it, not because they necessarily need it, even though our job is to convince them why they do need it. So again, it became very appealing. So that was sort of our first dive into the outdoor lighting world. We took our systems from home service, brought directly into lighting for landscape, permanent, and holiday, and just saw fantastic results. Saw a huge opportunity in the space that there really wasn't a standalone specialist in the marketing world for lighting. When we were with home service, we would talk to some lighting guys who ultimately said, they had to teach them the difference between landscape and permanent versus holiday and things of the nature. And when someone can step in and have full education surrounding that is a huge advantage. So outdoor lighting has been our focus now for the past 4 years, all things digital marketing. And that's the base of it. Nick, anything you want to add to that?
Nope. That was that was the gist of it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And you're dead on. Like, that happens all the time where someone's like, they'll start talking to a marketing company or whatever, and then all of a sudden they start posting blogs, and it's like, I remember I had this one time. We started doing misting systems. I was in Texas and it got hot and people wanted patio misters, and I'm like, okay, so let's try that. And then we hired a marketing company, and they posted a blog, and it showed a picture of a greenhouse with like misters. And I was like, what is going on? Like, they clearly don't know what we're doing. And so you're right. Like, I think it makes sense when you can niche down, because then you can speak the language. You get that. There's not that 2-month education on like, oh, so you guys don't do solar lights? Oh, yeah, we'll turn off those ads. And thousands of dollars down the drain. So,
Yeah.
Ben, you mentioned something, how like it excited you because it was a luxury item. I think most marketers and even people starting a business it's almost like a deterrent of like, oh, I'm going to go after like the demand-based stuff like HVAC and some of those other ones. You like that. How come you like the fact that people want landscape lighting and not necessarily need it?
Yeah, so I like this point, and I like to divide industries, kind of like you said, the wants versus the needs. You need your roof done because a hailstorm ruined it, or like you need an HVAC unit because, it shut down, whatever it might be. So there is obvious demand, but people don't necessarily want to pay for that. It's sometimes a burden. Vice versa, outdoor lighting is, in addition to their home, it's something that they're excited about, something that they want to invest in, something that they're willing to pay for. So from an advertising perspective, putting a business out there for a service that people are excited to purchase is, let's just say, a lot more fun than advertising for something that, people are dreading or trying to get the cheapest cost or getting 10 to 12 different quotes or whatever it might be.
I think it's one of those points that I don't think most business owners spend enough time really coming to grips with and understanding, because it's one of those reasons why outdoor lighting is protected regardless of what's going on in the economy. Because people like, if you don't need something, you're going to restrict, like, we don't need that. But rich people still want shit. They're just like, I still want to go to Italy on that vacation. I still want to go skiing in Vail. I still want to enjoy my backyard. And to do that at night, you kind of need some lights. And so the people who have the negative mindset are always like, I don't know, man. I just saw an article today. They said a recession might be starting. Like, they've been saying that ever since I was born. Like, I swear every year of my life, it's like, hey man, you keep your cash, man. Recession's about to start. You're like, what? When is it going to actually start? Or has it started? Or when's it going to end? I don't know.
Now?
I feel like we're protected. Because we just give people things that they want, and we're not trying to sell to poor people. So it's.
I also think to your point there, like when business owners hear that and they get nervous about investing into advertising because they think, demand's not going to be there. There's less people advertising, which means less competition. So, it's an easier time to actually advertise and kind of stand out.
Yeah, totally agree. I want to ask you about the different verticals, because it's kind of like, I feel like it's just, landscape lighting, holiday or Christmas lighting, and then permanent lighting. One of the reasons I love landscape lighting, and I think it's better than the other two, and I would arm wrestle someone that's not as strong as me over that, is because landscape lighting is the harder one. Like you said, like it's actually not as simple. Like Christmas light, I don't want to minimize what you guys do, but like seriously, like you could just walk down the street with a sign that says Christmas lights and get leads in November. You know what I mean? Landscape lighting is not like that. Like it's a little bit harder. How do you guys vary your approach when you got someone that wants permanent lighting leads versus Christmas or landscape, or they want all three? How are you guys working that into the mix?
Yeah. So I talk to a lot of, the lighting business owners every day. I'm the one on the calls and whatnot. So that's the first thing that I'll ask is, what's the vertical you want to focus on and generate leads for? Because we don't want to come at it from a cookie cutter approach and just prescribe a solution when we don't really even know what the problem is and specifically for what service. So with landscape lighting, I would say the biggest thing that we've seen across the board when people have success is, of course, we need really good ads, especially with, the Facebook update last year. It's not really about targeting or pressing buttons in Facebook. 90% of the results is going to come from just having a really, really good creative. The second thing is, especially with Meta, just not using instant lead forms. So we only focus on landing pages now. And one, it allows you just to convey a much stronger brand and be able to pre-sell them, especially with these higher ticket jobs where they're thinking about it a lot more and things of that sort. So there's kind of the first layer of ROI that I like to call it, where, of course, we're looking at the cost per lead. Then we're looking at, how many of those leads are actually converting to appointments and then closed jobs. So we typically see a good return there. And then there's kind of that secondary layer, especially with Meta, when you run a really strong ad creative. People go onto your website. So then you need a really strong website and brand presence, a good organic presence, have a good, strong GBP, things of that sort. And then there's just traffic being driven there as well. So a lot of the times our clients will tell us, hey, someone actually found us on Facebook that went to search us up and then called and then became a client.
Yep. I see that all the time. That happens even with referrals. There's a lot of business owners that I've talked to and they're like, oh man, no, I'm good. I don't need help with marketing or anything like that. Been around 22 years, all word of mouth, baby. I'm like, cool. So you just told me that you hate money. Because like even a referral, it's like, hey man, you guys should use Ben and Nick. Like, go, here's their number. They're with outside leads. Like there's a really good chance that they're just going to Google outside leads first before they even call you. And so all of a sudden you have a crappy website, doesn't convert, or maybe it doesn't show up like that good as it should. Now all of a sudden you just generated a lead for your competitor, and people just don't know. Like that's not how it works. The funnel isn't always streamlined. Sometimes they hop around a little bit. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, exactly. It's not always just super linear. It would be great if it was, but yeah, there's definitely that kind of omnipresence approach that we definitely need to think about. With permanent, little different. It is a little bit more linear because less of a higher ticket item, probably a little bit more well-known, easier to also show in ad creatives and whatnot. So, but even then, still definitely lots of brand awareness. And then to your point with holiday, not very difficult when it's holiday season. So as long as you have a good ad creative and good landing page, you can absolutely smash it.
Talk about what makes up a good ad creative, because I think people hear that and they're like, okay, well, what does that mean? Because you said it's not as
Yeah.
much about targeting and the ad sets and all that, but someone's listening. What are some tips you could give them on how to come up with a good ad for their company?
Yeah, I think Ben and I have talked a lot about this, and just looking at the hundreds of ads that we've created, and there's a couple common themes. I think one is just having the owner on camera, even though it's uncomfortable sometimes, but that's a huge part of it. I don't think it's enough just to showcase the product anymore, or just showcase some lights on a house. I think you actually have to have the owner on camera. It could be something that's educational, it could be a direct script, things like that. Good high quality content like B-roll that we can layer over, even if it's just a voiceover type of ad. But of course, with landscape, we want to have high quality footage if we're going to convey a high quality product. So I think that's the start of it. And then other than that, it just becomes one of those things where we want to test a bunch of stuff. So even though we have probably 80% of the foundation there when it comes to the ads, we also still like to test, different variations of hooks or direct offers and things like that, just to kind of match, that specific service area. I don't know if you have anything
Nice.
else to add to that, Ben.
Yeah, definitely. So if for those who have like talked to us before, they know that we really push the personal creative side. I think with uptick in competition, it's the best way to separate yourself from, if people are scrolling and they see a picture of a house with lights, it's like, okay, cool, versus scrolling, seeing, an owner introducing himself, their business in their local area, and then actually talking about exactly what they installed. I always like to say that the best advertisements are the videos that don't scream, advertisement or sponsored ad. It's just natural to the timeline. Facebook and Instagram is what I call like interruption marketing, because no one is scrolling to get sold on a 10, 15, 20K landscape lighting job. So it's like, what could we put out there very natural to the timeline to get them very engaged? And that's, hitting certain pain points and desires surrounding, the landscape lighting world, but also taking that direct introduction approach.
Yeah, good stuff. Honestly, it took me way longer than I want to admit to learn some of this stuff, because when I had my lighting business, I didn't even have a Facebook account forever. And I think I got one in like 2015 or something like that. And then, so I was like, oh, I might as well get a business one. And I would just post pictures of cool lighting projects because they looked cool. And I was like, this project was awesome because they 50 grand and look, it's awesome. And it would get like 2 likes. And it's pretty, the answers to everything is always right in front of us. It's pretty simple. Like you just said it, but it's called social media. People come on to Instagram, Facebook to be social. They're not coming on there to look at pretty pictures of landscape lighting that they don't even know what that is. And what did it even look like before? Like, is there a transformation? Like, that's cool, whatever. But it's social and it's media. And so when you do put that human touch on it, like, again, I figured that out when I started this business. It's like, that's all I do is I just like, I'm in everything, and yeah, not everyone's going to like it. Not everyone's going to want it. And they didn't go on there to listen to a lighting podcast, and that's fine. They can just scroll on, and then other people are going to stop and pause and be like, oh, wait, this is helpful. This is valuable information. So yeah, I think once people realize it's like, if it's not the owner or somebody else, like someone's got to be on there. It's social media. It's been named that the whole time. So
Yeah.
nothing's changed there.
Yeah. Face to the brand. And we even say it doesn't have to be the owner. It helps, obviously, if we know that if they see the owner in the ad, the owner calls them, the owner goes to the appointment. That makes, you gain that trust factor a lot quicker, which can make the sales process a little bit more streamlined. But if the first time they're hearing about them or knowing them is that at-home appointment, might make things a little bit different.
So what do you guys do at Outside Leads? You do social media management and Google ads?
So all that kind of everything, digital marketing, website design, SEO, Facebook and Instagram ads, Google ads, social media management. AI lead management, CRMs, really.
Okay. So if you have someone that comes to you and it's just a weak website, can you modify it, or do they have to start all over, or could you be like, hey, we need to add a form here, add your phone number here? Because again, like, your results, they're gonna measure you if they get results or not, and if they already have kind of weak branding or a weak website or something like that, that's gonna affect your performance. So what do you guys do there?
Yeah, generally, if there is a weak website, we would recommend starting from scratch. Our non-negotiables for a website is like a 5-page home, about us, services, or just landscape lighting if that's all you offer, the gallery, and the contact us. Like, those are the 5, all you need. Anything more is just, a cherry on top. The biggest thing with websites in the outdoor lighting world is that it has to be very visual. As people are scrolling on that homepage, they should see 10 or more images right away, because that's what you're selling. If they can't immediately understand what you do, and then if you don't make it easy for them to contact you, you might be losing a lot through your website. So I know, Nick, like, we touched on ads, but we always promote the organic foundation. Back to Nick's point, that there's so much indirect leads that you get from paid ads, because they'll see you, then they'll search you, they'll look at your website, they'll look at your reviews, your presence on your socials. And if that's, just as dialed in as your ads, then you'll reap the rewards.
Yeah, I've seen that too. So I guess what types of things should they be posting regularly on their social media, and how often?
We advocate 2 to 3 times per week to post, and that's what we follow with our clients that we work with. And we follow like traditional social media plans, where it's not just look at this project we did, but a value post, an educational post, a quick tip, a call to action, posting for holidays. So it's really, just growing a brand, and not just saying permanent lighting project, in Chicago, landscape lighting project we did in Plainfield. Coming more from the approach of the professional, as if it was the owner posting, and really providing value. And I think that's the good way to gain trust organically, similar to the way we do it for paid ads.
Yeah, I don't think people realize that, like, they're all interconnected. And so if you really have a crappy, like, organic presence, and then you expect to just turn on ads and everything to be awesome, it's just not the same. This is why you have people, even in our community, right? I mean, you'll have someone say, oh my gosh, I'm killing it with these guys. I'm killing it on social media. I'm killing it on Google ads, whatever. And then someone else tries the let's say the exact same campaign, but similar, whatever. Like, I don't know, it's just not working for me. And you can usually find out why. It's like, well, yeah, your branding's not the same. Your landers are not the same. Like, all these different things. You haven't posted on social media for 2 months. And the last time you did was actually kind of like a boring post, not valuable. Because again, people don't go, it's non-linear, like you said, Nick. Like, they don't just always click the link, go to landing page, fill out the thing, get the lead, buy lights. It can get messy. So if you guys, let's just say for landscape lighting, not holiday, not permanent, someone comes to you and they're like, man, I'm broke. I mean, I've got some money, but very little. And I need to start with something. What should I do? Should I do Google ads, or should I do Instagram ads?
Yeah, I think the first thing we always recommend, and we help people out with this as well, is what we call cash injection campaigns, which are just super low hanging fruit, where they're just reactivation campaigns. So kind of doing SMS blasts or email blasts to old leads that are just collecting dust, or maybe got an estimate, didn't close, and things of that sort. So ideally, if you can get a job or 2 from that, then that kind of funds the marketing campaign. But I think from a budget perspective, probably Meta, because with Google, it's just expensive, and the leads are much higher intent, of course, when they're coming in, but you probably need at least $2,500, $3,000, just for ad spend to get a good sufficient amount of leads. Whereas
talk a little
Meta,
bit about how'd you come up with that budget? Talk about why it matters to have a larger budget for Google ads.
Just because the it's all based on like PPC, which means you have to select keywords, and the most competitive keywords, depending on the service area, of course, but sometimes it could be 10, $15 just for a click, let alone how many that actually convert on the landing page and things of that sort. So you just need a lot of clicks to even get enough data for it to be, somewhat successful. Once it's working and it's doing really well, then, it's great. But at kind of the initial start, you just need a little bit more for testing.
Yep, I'd agree with that. Obviously, there's a learning phase, a testing phase for both mediums. So like bigger budgets in Google buy more presence, like in more room to test. They don't like necessarily buy rank. Your relevance and your quality score do, but the more you spend, the quicker you'll reach that point. So it really depends on the exact number, because, depending on budget, we do advocate Google Ads for landscape lighting because, it's high intent. It is very search based. When people want landscape lighting, that's where they're going. Google, now ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, whatever it might be. But also you could get a lot out of just $500 on Facebook. If you spend that, you could reach tens of thousands of people in an area, get all these impressions. And there's a lot of like indirect, like we're saying, the nonlinear marketing and these that you can get from them.
Gotcha. Talk about like, social media. Like you've mentioned a couple of times, it's interruption marketing. It's like Google, if someone types in like, outdoor lighting designer near me, like, yeah, I know I want that lead. Social media, we don't have that luxury necessarily. I mean, there is some targeting that you can do in the content, like you said, or the creative of the ad, but we don't necessarily know intent. And so, how do you treat them? Like, are you actually going for the lead? Are you trying to get them to just get to an email list? Like, what part of the funnel are people in on social media when it comes to landscape lighting?
Yeah, it's very high intent. So we're very big on just like the full customer journey. Nick mentioned that we'd never run our ads to a lead form. And for those who have, I guarantee that they've had leads who don't remember filling out, quote that they never filled it out, wrong phone numbers, things of the nature, because Facebook pushes volume. If you have your information saved on Facebook, you click on it, it autofills, it submits in 5 seconds. Like, where's the intent from that? So we already touched on, the visual, the creative is the first piece, but the destination is just as important. And that's where we go to the landing page. Even taking them off of Facebook is an extra layer of friction. So it's the acceptance of, I'm not scrolling on Facebook anymore. I'm now going to a different tab to learn more about this outdoor lighting business. We still have an extensive form asking, what service, all their contact information, address information, things of the nature. But now we have further room to educate about their services, show more visuals. We have people film videos there as well saying, thank you for your interest. Here's a little bit about our business. After they fill out the form, they go to a thank you page. Again, back to encapsulating this whole buyer journey and keeping them very interested and excited. People on the thank you page will film, thank you for your inquiry. Here are the next steps. So really the main thing, just back to the point, and I sound like a broken record, but it's keeping them in tune, keeping them excited about the service. Back to the point of interruption, we interrupted them with the creative. Now let's keep them in with the landing page, and even more so with the thank you page. And then everything after that with speed to lead gets the appointment booked more seamlessly than it does chasing a lead form lead with, 17 phone calls and 13 text messages.
Yeah, got it. We did have one question from Dalton Zane. He's talking about recording, advertisement videos. Where should we be recording this? Should it be going to be at your house with a nice background? Should it be on the job site? Where do you guys recommend people are filming these videos for ads?
Great question. The best ones are, I like to say it's, everyone does it, the nighttime demo. Like after you do an install, you go there, you walk through with the customer and you talk about what you did, you look at it. It's almost put that into an advertisement. Those work very, very well because you are positioning yourself as a professional. You're speaking the language, again, not screaming advertising. But at the same time, you could stand in front of your truck. You could stand in front of your own house. You could stand in a backyard. It really doesn't matter. Depending on the edits, as you're speaking, it's always recommended to transition to show what you're talking about. So if you offer multiple services, so it's, here at Ben's Outdoor Lighting, we offer landscape lighting and architectural lighting and up lighting and bistro lighting, whatever it might be. You want to be very visual in your videos and not just show you, maybe show you for the first 10 seconds and then show off the projects.
I think the only thing I'd add to that is, for if you want to attract a, certain avatar or house or whatever it is, like showcase the house that is your ideal client. So if you have a big project and you want more big projects, showcase, a bigger project. If you're showcasing smaller projects and things of that sort, that's kind of the leads you'll start to attract.
Yeah, interesting. I know I had a lady. I mean, I just always like to show off the bigger jobs anyway, right? So that's what we had on our website, and we did small jobs. I just wasn't as proud of those. And a lady called in one time, and she's like, "Wait, do you only do big homes?" I'm like, "We try to, but I'm like, no. If you're like a regular person and need lights, we might be able to help you. Our minimum is $3,000 or whatever, but." So yeah, I think you can do a lot of your pre-qualifying, a lot of educating and stuff through that content for sure.
Yeah, it's also one of those things. It's if you show a small job, it's harder to attract the trust of like those bigger jobs that you want. Whereas if you show a massive job, you can have anything below, in terms of leads and who you're attracting.
Yeah, good point.
A little difficult.
Yeah. Nice shout out from Matt Berg. Ben and Nick killed it on my site. Now climbing the Google ladder.
Thank you very much, Matt. Much appreciated.
Check out that new site, Matt. Okay, so how long? You talked about Google and like the budget there. What's an appropriate budget for getting started with social media, and how long does it take? You said there's a learning curve, or not learning curve, but a learning process. How long does it take to get results?
Specifically for Google, you're asking?
Social media. So like Instagram, Facebook, budget and time.
So yeah, it varies by platform. I'd start with Google, and Google's more competitive. If you really want to step in and see results quicker, we recommend like a $2,000 a month budget. I'd say it's very healthy. Anything less, like I said, if you have some big spenders in the area, you're ultimately losing that bid. So you're kind of behind in that position. You're not getting as many opportunities. So if the budget fits, you have $2,000 a month to spend in Google ads, absolutely do it. There's no reason not to. Facebook, you don't have to spend as much. Facebook spending model is different, cost per 1,000 impressions. So to break it down, if your CPMs are $30 and you spend $30 a day, you'll get 1,000 impressions on your ad, which is great. So we recommend a minimum of $1,000 a month. The average cost per lead, in the landscape lighting world, annually, let's say ranges from like $40 to $80. So if you're spending $30, then you could expect a lead, every 2 to 3 days. In the permanent lighting world, that you're spending $30, cost per leads are lower. You're getting a lead every 1 to 2 days. And then once you reach those metrics, it's very predictable to say, okay, I'm spending $30 and getting 1 lead per day. Let's double my budget and now get 2 leads per day. So in both platforms, unfortunately, the more you spend, the more you get out. The more you spend, the quicker you can test and see those results. And that's what we really promote. We really like to set those expectations, because the company spending $1,000 will get leads, half the leads ultimately, as the company spending $2,000 in the same area.
Yep. Now this is good. This is a conversation I want to have, because this is why what I teach in my program is pricing, sales, and then marketing. Because if we just like turn on marketing and you guys get these results and you get 2 leads and all that, but you're not pricing at the right amount, like it at some point it won't matter. You won't even notice at first, because you're like, oh, Ben, Nick, you guys are awesome. I just sold a $10,000 job, But if it should have been 13, at some point the cash is going to catch up, or the lack thereof, right? And so we start with pricing, we start with sales, because again, you guys can generate all the leads in the world. If we're not closing at what we should, and sometimes it's not far off. Sometimes these guys just needed like 1 extra deal a month, let alone, man, if they could just close one extra deal a week, the marketing has insane ROI. And if not, it's like, oh, I don't know. Like I see a lot of people making marketing decisions that are just terrible. They'll turn on a service like yours and then like it gets slow for a month or two and they're like, yep, got to turn it off. It's just not working anymore or whatever. I'm like, what? No, like you just had like all this momentum and you made $60,000. Like you made enough money and you just were bad with cash and spent it. And so now you're broke. That's not how this works. It's the long game. And lifetime value is something that you guys are going to love me to talk about. Business owners are going to hate me to talk about. But Dan Kennedy was the one, I think, who came up with the phrase, whoever can afford to spend the most on marketing will win. And that's because of lifetime value. You know, if we, and it's probably no secret why you guys are in the landscape lighting industry, it's high ticket. I mean, if you had to produce those same results, getting someone lawn care leads at $59 a mow, it's just, man, they got to do a lot of work to pay for that $1,500. You know, like we don't need, we just need like a job in the landscape lighting world. So when you get 3 or 4, then that's good because it might get slow in July. It might get slow in August. Just traditional marketing always does. It's just how it is. So you should be better at referral partner marketing because that doesn't always get slow that time. And then when you can understand the lifetime value, it's like, okay, cool. I didn't just make, $60,000 in jobs with these 6 jobs this month. Like I actually made 120,000, but I only got paid on 60 right now. It's just, I'm going to upsell them $10,000. It might be 2 years from now. And I'm going to get a referral from them. It might be 2 days from now. It depends on how good your back end systems are. And that's where people miss the boat. And then they try something and then they stop it. And it's like, you're never going to get growth. You have to get, we were kind of mapping it out the other day at our Friday fly-in. If you want $1 million business and you're just kind of decent at converting leads to appointments and you're just decent at sales, you need about 700 leads in a year. And like, that's a lot of leads.
Yeah.
So where are you going to get them from? Like, where are you going to get those leads from? Is it possible to do with just social media? In most cases, no. Like, you're going to need a marketing mix. You're going to need a variety of things. And you're going to have to be good at repeat business. You're going to have to get good at referrals. You're going to have to do the yard signs. You're going to have to play the small ball stuff so that when you do turn on your social media and get some doubles, like, heck yeah, like we're going to score some runs. So yeah. Do you guys ever get into that lifetime value, or is that a conversation that your customers don't want to have, or what do you guys do?
I think like I don't know how much we all actually get into it with our clients, but it's something we like, it's very important to us as a marketing agency. Our business only works if we retain our clients and, do great work for them. And I'm like you said, most people have probably seen our ads. We constantly, spend on our ads and things of that sort. So for us, like lifetime value is, very important. To your point with Dan Kennedy. Yeah, I've been following Dan Kennedy, Russell Brunson, all those guys for a long time. And, always loved the fact that, they would run low ticket funnels, break even month 1, but no, month 2, they would get X amount of money back. And then you look at kind of that overall ROI for 3 months and, you're sitting at like 5 to 10X, but sometimes it doesn't feel that way, when you're either kind of losing money up front or maybe at a 1X ROI up front and just break even, things of that sort. So for us, we talk about it all the time.
Yep. I'll add on that. Like, we're very big on expectation setting. And it's that, like, if you could spend $1,000 and 10X, 20X in 1 month, we'd be very rich as marketing agency owners. It's like, we'd have a lot of clients if all it took was $1,000 to see extreme growth. It's very, very rare for a company to, let's say, spend $1,000 a month for a year, advertise all throughout the year, and not see a very, very good return. Like, too often we see companies who sign on for a month, 2 weeks in, they spend $500. Their first few appointments didn't go well. They get cold feet and they don't want to carry on to the investment. It's like social media especially is, like you said, it's another stream. It shouldn't be the only one that you rely on, but it could be a huge boost. And financially, if it makes sense, you should absolutely stick with it. So I think that's part of our strategy as well, is really making sure from an investment perspective that you don't only have $1,000 or $2,000 to spend. And if you don't make, 10x off of that, then you're putting yourself in a huge hole. And that's where we like to recommend, organic website, SEO, social media management, yard signs, reactivation campaigns, things of the nature. So I'd say to both Nick's point, but also to clients, no matter how much you spend, if you stick with it, you'll definitely see a return.
I think I may have told you guys this story. When I sold my lighting business, I actually didn't know what I was going to do. I just knew there's no way I'm starting another lighting business in Utah, because I was like, people are so cheap in Utah. I grew up there. I'm one of them, And so then I meet Keith Rosser. He's got a multi-million-dollar landscape lighting business in Utah. I'm like, okay, that guy's a stud, because this is not an easy market. And so I just had some friends in Texas that were business. I had tons of friends that were business owners, and they're like, dude, how did you do so well with landscape lighting only? Like, can we, I know you're good at marketing. Can we hire you? And I was like, okay. So I just had a digital marketing agency without really trying. So I was doing what you guys are doing. I was doing Facebook ads, Google websites, all that. Well, one of my clients was a pest control company, and I can't remember the exact numbers, but I got him somewhere around like 40 or 50 leads in a month. And he was like, dude, this is awesome, And then the next month was July or whatever, and he got less. He got like 30. He was like, dude, man, like, what's going on? We only got 20 leads, 30 leads or whatever. And I was like, well, I mean, it's just like what happens. I don't know what else to tell you. Well, you see you riding your dirt bike a lot in Utah. Like, are you sure you're working? And I was just like, you know what? Like, that just pissed me off, And it was actually one of the reasons where I was like, I'm not doing digital marketing, because you guys, you can't control so many variables, And but the reason I share that is because marketing agencies, whether you guys agree with this or not, it's just true. You guys have a bad rap. I mean, everyone thinks I hire the marketing agency. It always works the first 60 days, but then after that, I don't even think these guys are working. They're just collecting the paycheck and blah, blah, blah. What do you do to overcome that? Because what you said is right, Ben. Like, you're not making $1,000 decision. You're actually making a $12,000 a year decision if that's the budget we're going for, and it's either going to work or it's not. But you gotta take it all the pieces together. And some months you win, and some months you might break even, and some months you might lose. But are you winning over the year? Because too many people are cutting it off. Oh, I'm done with this agency, whatever. And it's like, okay, maybe the agency's not perfect, maybe whatever. But if you would have kept going like another month or two, you would have spiked and made another $100,000 or whatever. Mm-hmm. So what do you guys do to overcome that?
It's really big, again, on really just like the conversation on expectations surrounding exactly that.
You guys ever get accused of just riding your dirt bike in Utah?
Not yet, but maybe when we're in Park City.
I'll have you guys know, Nick was at my house. Not this Nick Wojak was at my house, and he's like, "Is that right? Your bike only has 60 hours on it or whatever?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't ride that much, and that bike's like 6 years old or whatever, so maybe 7 years old." But it's just what people see and whatever they believe and whatever else, and they don't know. I mean, that's always an uphill battle, I think, for a marketing agency like your guys is how do you constantly re-earn the trust? You know what I mean? I think that's the name of your game. If you can do that, your clients get success, then you're gonna have success.
Yeah, for us, I mean, it's looking at the long term, and like we're big on like communication and transparency in those first 30 to 90 days, because people get emotional and they get nervous when they don't see this tremendous returns in 3 months. And we want to reiterate that we are seeing good metrics. We've only spent $3,000. When you double that budget in 3 months, that's when you really start to gain serious traction. Just for example, some people are making a huge return in month 1, others aren't making a huge return until month 5. So it's really communicating, what's working, what's not, best next steps, this is normal, and always making sure that, of course, we're in line with our service and what we provide, and making sure that, they're providing what they need to provide as well.
Yeah. I'll add on to that. I think we know a lot of marketing agencies just being in the space. And I think a lot of marketing agencies just overpromise because they want to get the sale on the call, and they'll say anything to basically get that sale. For us, we want to be as transparent as possible, set the right expectations. Like Ben said, sometimes we are able to just knock it out the park right away and everything aligns. Sometimes it just takes a bit more time. So we just kind of say it's not a matter of if it's going to work. It's just a matter of when. The other thing as well, we also have skin in the game. We don't sign anyone to long-term contracts. Everything's month to month with us. So if we don't crush and we don't, communicate with you, we're transparent about everything. Even when things are bad, we like to be very transparent and say, hey, here's the solutions. Here's what we're doing. Here's what we're going to test, things of that sort. Because we want to make sure we have skin in the game and be able to retain every single client that we work with. Mm-hmm. And we don't want our value to be, you signed a 6-month contract with us, so you got to pay us kind of thing.
Okay, sweet, man. I could probably talk for days about marketing, but I have another appointment. So,
fair enough.
I do appreciate you guys coming on. This stuff is awesome, man. I love it. And for me, it's really, really crucial. I mean, I don't want to identify as a business coach because I think there's so much more value to what landscape lighting provides with community, and we have a buyers group or like a lot of different things. But if I identify as a coach, like I can only do so much. Like if the client isn't getting success with their marketing, it doesn't matter how good their sales process is. You know what I mean? They need the 700 leads. That's key. So it's really crucial. So I love these conversations. I appreciate you coming on. If people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way? Where do you want them to go?
You can go to our website, outsideleads.com, email contact@outsideleads.com, or through phone. Cell is 815-546-4713.
Okay. And I will say this, guys, we've got a partnership. And when I say partnership, just so everyone knows, like I don't have any equity in Outside Leads. They don't have any equity in ours. I refer to partners just like I do referral partners. Like I'm trying to partner with a lot of different companies in the landscape lighting world to provide value to our community. So I want to tell you this for 2 reasons. Number one, if you're in landscape lighting secrets, Ben and Nick have been, I would say, more than generous in their offer to you guys as members. So thank you, Ben. Thank you, Nick. I seriously appreciate that. I mean, it's pretty massive. You guys know we had a guy join not too long ago, and he's like, he didn't even know. He's like, what? I'm getting like, hundreds of dollars off per month, and that's not why he joined our program, but kind of a nice surprise. So I'm telling for 2 reasons. Number one, if you're in landscape lighting secrets, don't forget to mention that to these guys so you guys get the hookup. And if you're not in landscape lighting secrets, it's almost worth joining our program just to get the discount with Outside Leads. Let's just say it's that substantial. So we are, like I said, we've got a ton. I don't know how many now, 20 some partners or whatever inside landscape lighting secrets. So you take advantage of a few different offers. Even if you didn't show up to a coaching call or anything like that, you're going to save money by being in our program. So what was the website again? Outsideleads.com.
That's it.
Yep.
Okay. So go check them out, guys. Outsideleads.com. Nick, Ben, really appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming on, nerding out all the things marketing. Appreciate you guys.
Yep.
Anytime. Thanks for having us.
No worries. 250, baby. 200. You guys made it to the 250th episode.
Honor. That's awesome.
I mean, America. America, Emery Allen, and Lighting for Profits.
That's it.
All right, guys. Have an awesome week. 250. Thanks for being on the 250 episode, guys. Take it easy, everyone. Go spend a ton of money on advertising, get tons of leads, make tons of money, over deliver.
That's it.